Hey, what's happening, ladies and gentlemen? DFS 5-pack, Matthew Bellman, Ryan Kostrowski here. We are ready to talk through Week 11. This is the first take of what we want to talk about. And as per usual, we'll be back with you guys over the weekend to kind of talk about any updates that we might have. In the meantime, don't hesitate to click the thumbs up on the video, subscribe if you're new to it, and hit the bell for notifications.
I'm pumped to talk this slate out with you, man.
Let's get after it. I think we kind of like this one because what we talked about the other day with Seattle and Arizona playing on Thursday night this week, like it definitely makes it a little bit of a different week. There's no forcing Kyler Murray into your lineup. There's no picking on Seattle. Like you can get a little different with it. I know that's something you always enjoy in pretty much any sport.
I love it. It feels like a great tournament slate. So, yes, I completely agree with you, sir.
All right, man. So we're going to rock through this bad boy. But before we do, we have a couple things to bring up. And one of them is one of the greatest promotions that we have ever had the preview be able to bring to you guys here with the DFS 5-pack. We're trying out a new thing this year, and that is talk about tiered customers. And what we mean by that is giving an advantage to people who. So we are going to do an NBA package this year, which is also the first time for that. The price on it is $120. However, we are going to let a few customers in early at a very discounted price who do, like I said, agree to buy this thing early. We're still a month away from NBA. We're doing 15 customers at a half price of only $60. We still have a handful of those spots left, and then it's going to go up to $75 for the next tier of people to buy in. There's no difference in what you get. It's just a difference in what the price is. Quite simply, it is a pain in the butt when the season starts, and as me, as the guy who does like the new customer signups, trying to do like 50 of them in a day. We love the new business, but it is hard to keep up with. So rewarding the people who sign up early. It's not up on the website, but the Venmo and PayPal address are below. If you want the NBA package at half price, I got some spots left. Sign on up, and we would love to have you.
We sure would. Let's talk about some football.
Football it is. Before we do that, don't forget to head on over to Overlay. I think we can do a 5-pick shootout video because that's already out, and hopefully we can get that early. We'll try to get that to you guys tomorrow. They haven't been dropping the tournament progressive jackpots till a little bit later in the week, and that's because they've been so busy with the matchup shop, which has been going real well, gaining in popularity every single day. Had been doing really well on it until this weekend. Definitely took a step back, but I'm going to get all that money back this week. Pay attention for videos. And if you want to sign up to be a brand new Overlay player, just screenshot your deposit to me so we can get you a free 5-pack membership.
Yeah, we still got that deal going on, so sign it up if you haven't. We got the NBA draft tonight. So fun times coming on up.
Only a month away from NBA. Can't wait. So let's talk football, though. Let's talk about the quarterback position. I actually want to start at the bottom with this one with you. Do you think the fact that Lamar overall being a letdown this year keep people off him this week, or what kind of love do you think he gets?
That's a good question. I think that, yes, how, he hasn't had a great year is going to keep his ownership down. I don't think quarterbacks, like you mentioned, no Kyler, no Russell Wilson on this slate.
No Josh Allen.
No Josh Allen, no Mahomes.
Aaron Rodgers in a bad spot.
Yeah, exactly. So, who I think is interesting, but we'll talk more of that on members only again. But I think that as far as Lamar goes, I think he gets love, but he's not like overwhelming chalk. How about you?
That's kind of what I was thinking as well. Like I think you'll probably see a double-digit number next to his name. But again, I don't expect him to come in like Josh Allen from 2 weeks ago or Kyler Murray pretty much any week he's on the slate. So some of the things to like about Lamar, like one, we've come to the Tennessee's defense is not good. Like we just saw Phillip Rivers look really good against him, and Phillip Rivers doesn't look good against almost anybody, and he just cut them up easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It's a big bounce back game for the Ravens coming off a less than stellar loss against the Patriots on Sunday Night Football in the monsoon. However, I think you and I came to the same conclusion. We didn't think Lamar looked too bad in that game. Actually, he was pretty accurate passing the ball. And after 3 straight weeks of getting the Colts, which is a very good defense, the Steelers, which might be the best defense in football, and then having to play in a monsoon against Bill Belichick, he's got to be licking his chops to take on Tennessee this week.
No doubt about that. And I hadn't looked at ownership projections that much, because it's so early in the week. But projections think that Lamar Jackson's going to be low owned. And a big part of that is he's probably not an optimizer type guy here. He hasn't had a great year. He's the most expensive QB on the slate. Not great receivers to pair him with. You don't need to play him with receivers, obviously, because of his rushing ability. But I don't think he's going to be that high owned. I'm a little bit torn on it because the spot's really good. But I think so many people are down on him, like you mentioned, that his ownership is going to be lower than maybe we first thought.
He's got the floor still of being a solid cash game play. And what I mean by that is even though he hasn't like lit you up this year, I think he's got at least 14 and a half DK points in every game. Guys with legs give you a floor, but there is a ceiling. We haven't seen a ton of it this year. No doubt about it. The ceiling has been reached on minimal occasions. Only really one of them even comes to mind. That doesn't mean it's not in there. And Tennessee is one of the worst defenses in the league when it comes to defending the quarterback position. And they look like they're getting worse at it. So I have a lot of interest right here. I can't say for sure he's my cash game quarterback, but he's on a short list.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to, what happens, as the week concludes. We always, now in the COVID times, guys being out changes everything. I think that, the case against Lamar is that he's expensive. There's a few expensive running backs that people are going to want to use. So that's the reason I think that, he's not going to get that much love.
All right, next up. So there's a game that we like for offense, and we're going to bring up a guy on each side of the game. And that is we're both kind of have some interest in the Patriots-Houston game. And if you've been watching the Patriots over the last month, Jakobi Meyers has really just kind of become the man from them from a wide receiver perspective. Cam looks for him every time he seems to drop back to throw. Over the past month, he's got 9.25 targets per game. And honestly, he's really only been in a good spot once. They had the monsoon in Baltimore the other night. And one of the nice parts was you saw Bill Belichick even working the opportunity for him to throw the ball as a college quarterback. So that looked really nice. They played a game in Buffalo where the weather wasn't perfect. They just played a terrible game against San Francisco. And then the one time they got a really weak opponent in the New York Jets, he absolutely went off. He's clearly Cam's go-to guy. He has both floor and upside at under 5K. So again, I wouldn't call him a must, but he really has turned into the man from the wide receiver perspective for the New England Patriots.
I agree, man. We both like him a lot. He's a really nice piece of this game that's affordable. It gives you nice exposure. He is a big reason why I think that we, have no problem getting to Lamar. Guys like him. He's very affordable. He allows you to spend up at other positions.
Yeah, over the past month, he is a legitimate go-to wide receiver. Maybe he doesn't have the numbers. He's not going to be a Devontae Adams or anything like that, but he's really just being flooded with targets, and targets tend to equal success.
Agreed.
All right, next up would be the flip side of this game, and we want to go right back to a guy who, I don't know about you and what you did with him. I kind of forget what you said, but I jumped off of him. I got scared off by the wind. I think where not a lot went right for me, one of the few things I can hang my hat off is telling guys to kind of jump off Duke Johnson and take a look at Jakeem Grant is like a utility spot kind of guy. So that's neither here nor there for this week, but we both like the offenses in this week. And I think my favorite part about Duke Johnson, he has 100% of the carries for the Texans since David Johnson got hurt.
Yeah, that's huge. And, it was a bad weather game last week. Houston's offense did not look very good. He had a couple runs that looked promising. Houston, only scored one touchdown. He's, again, very affordable. We've seen most of the backup running backs priced up this week. Alexander Madison, Latavius Murray, both around 6K. Why is Duke Johnson only 5,400? It kind of makes no sense when you see the price increases other guys got. I think he's, for me, if I'm making one lineup, I'll say it like that. He's definitely making my one optimal line. No doubt about it.
I do also think the total in this game, I think is 48 or 49. I kind of expect these teams to get the over on this one. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I do too. At first glance, no doubt.
Yeah, and it's that time of the year too, guys, where don't hesitate. And I know the weather's been so bad a few of the weeks lately that we're all paying attention to it now. If you give me a fast track in a dome like this, yeah, I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up, let's shimmy on over to the West Coast and talk about the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the New York Jets. And I'm going to talk about a very, very cheap wide receiver that can help me afford guys like Lamar Jackson. And that is the talented young man that goes by the name of Denzel Mims. And if you asked Mims why you should play him this week, he'd tell you this is why he's hot. And if you get that reference, big props to you. The big thing right here is...
I wonder how many people watching this video will get that reference. I would say most of them.
You've got to remember how young some of the people playing this game are, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing. I'm not sure.
Old guys like us might get it, but I don't know who all will. Anyway, the key thing right here, right, he's 3,300. He's very, very cheap. I know you're a big fan of his game. He's a talented young wide receiver. Perryman has now popped up on the injury report as questionable. And I actually think there are cases for Mims to be better with and without him. With him, take some of the pressure off. Without him, really only condenses the target tree for the New York Jets. And as Joe Flacco may not be great, he did look great the last time they played. They're coming off the bye then. I know you thought this might be one of the few chances they have left to win a game this year, so good things could be coming for their offense. And quite frankly, the Chargers' pass defense just isn't very good.
Agreed all the way around. I like this call quite a bit. Mims is definitely a guy I was looking at. Perriman being in or out, I think there's plus and minuses to both, as you mentioned. The breakout game's coming for Mims. And agreed, Flacco looked competent last week, and hopefully he looks competent this week. I mean, there's always the chance, you're using a Jets receiver, so it's going to be no shock if any week, the Jets really struggle on offense, but they looked good the last time they played. They're in a better spot this week. I really do feel that this is a game that the Jets could be very competitive and possibly win, and they're going to need to score to do that.
Yes, they will. And Flacco looked more than competent last time out. He looked pretty good, actually. And I'm hoping for competent, though. I don't ever expect Joe Flacco to look good 2 weeks in a row. I'm just hoping for competency in this one. He's more comfortable throwing outside the numbers than Sam Darnold, too. Sam Darnold really likes to hit up the slot wide receivers, specifically Jamison Crowder. But, Flacco's an experienced, wily old veteran. As much as we make fun of him, I mean, he is, 22nd all-time in passing yards or something like that?
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't get there pretty, but he has gotten there.
Kind of shows you how much the NFL has changed.
Hell yeah. The fact that he passed Joe Montana, there ain't one person that if you ever asked anybody who's a better quarterback, Flacco or Montana, would say Joe Flacco.
No, there's not.
Well, no sane person at least.
True.
All right. Last thing up, we want to take a look at a GPP build and a potential GPP running back and the Derrick Henry train right here. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say, dude's really low owned. You have other high-priced running backs this week that are going to be better, quote-unquote, optimal plays. But the key thing here is, the Ravens' defense has been ravaged with injuries, like a lot of teams, but it really shows in their run defense right now. And your boy Harris ate them alive the other day, going 121 on 22 carries. Yeah,
we talked about that in our members-only video. Henry and Harris run very similarly. Henry's obviously the better back, and you kind of like that as a buying point for Henry, coming into this game. Tennessee lost last Thursday night against Indy, so now they have 10 days off. This is going to be a game, big game for both sides. Both sides need a win. Playoff rematch from last year. Baltimore could not stop Henry last year, and now they're much more banged up on the defensive side of the ball. They've got O-line problems on offense. They've got defensive line, linebacker, defensive back problems on defense. I mean, this team is beat up all over. Another point for Lamar. They really need Lamar to take over games because they're missing so many guys. So I think you could see more points in this game than I think a lot of people expect from first glance. And Henry is the best piece from Tennessee, and Lamar Jackson's the best piece from Baltimore. I'm sure you'll agree with that.
Yes. Well, I mean, they're their best players, no doubt about it. What do you think his ownership is with other high-priced running backs that just at a glance are going to jump off the page compared to Derrick Henry? I think you get Derrick Henry in the single digits.
Same for sure. I mean, definitely in the single digits. I think you get him potentially probably around 5%.
Yeah. And you understand why that is. But we've seen, like you said, he absolutely tore apart Baltimore. I wasn't even thinking about that, but he tore apart Baltimore in the playoffs last year, along with most people that were trying to tackle him. He's a beast. And while this may not jump off the page for you, why not pivot in another game with a chalkier big money running back and take a chance on him as a completely alternative build? And we're like, no, this guy, even though he doesn't seem like a home run hitter, because he's not super fast like a Barry Sanders or something like that. He does have big play capability. We see it multiple times every single year.
For sure. Listen, and it's obviously risky. That's why he's going to be low owned, but there's upside here at low ownership in a spot that a month ago we wouldn't even consider him, but the spot all of a sudden is a lot better than people realize.
Yeah, the optimizers are going to flood you with Dalvin Cook and Alvin Kamara, right? Yeah. And those both make sense. I love Dalvin Cook this week. What's not to love? But, Dallas can also be gotten via the pass. What happens if Minnesota falls behind in that game? Dallas comes in off the bye, and they have to go a little pass heavy like they did when Madison filled in against Atlanta. In that type of situation, that's the kind of pivot that could get you to the top in the millionaire maker type of situation.
No doubt. Love it.
All right, guys. If there's anything else you can need from us, the website link is below. We'd love to have you guys come join the DFS 5-pack as we gear up for the NBA season. Website link, PayPal link, they're all down below. Hit us up and let us know if you have any questions.
Thanks, guys.